Alright guys, welcome back to the only Dune Spice Wars guide you're going to need to win lobbies, to win multiplayer matches, to beat your friends at this game and become a Grandmaster Dune Spice Wars player. You're back with Cream, the Legend, the Champ, and I'm going to go over Ecaz today. We're going to review my Ecaz game here, which I believe I won, and I'm going to talk about, the faction, the mechanics, the heroes, everything you need to know about Ecaz to win the game. So I went with VIP and Rivi. So let's just start the video. We're going to watch it on 2x. I'm going to walk you through everything that I did. And you're going to see how we operate this faction to get you right into
plus power plus squire boost. Squires.
let's lower the volume. Um, and we'll talk about army compositions. We'll talk about everything that you're going to need to know. But essentially, Ecaz is a high risk, high reward faction. They have a nice mechanic called sanctuaries, which is like when you surround a tile by your regions, but you don't capture the tile, it becomes a sanctuary, which Carino can't drop, and nobody can pillage, and Atreides can't annex, right? So we're going to try to make some sanctuaries. We're going to talk about their army a little bit. We're going to talk about their heroes. We're going to talk about their counselors. Ecaz has one of the S tier counselors in the game. His name is Rivi. That's this guy up here. He makes you immune from any resolution, or if you make yourself immune from a positive resolution as well, he gives you votes. If you make yourself immune from a negative resolution, he'll cost you some Landsrat, but at the end of the game, when you want to make yourself immune from gear regs or from water regulation or some of the worst resolutions that can be thrown on you, he's amazing. So anyway, I grabbed my spice tile, I grabbed my plascrete tile, and I'm going to get a bunch of ornithopters here. Let's just turn up the speed because I think 2x is a little too slow. I don't want this video to be too long. I'm going to grab my plascrete tile here. Pretty standard stuff, right? My tech tree, standard, like composite materials, tier 1 yellow into tier 2 blue to get agents, lay of the land. And then from there, on Ecaz, they have a unique tech called Artistic Inspiration. It's their tier 3 yellow tech on the right. It basically gives you water and Solari for each sanctuary that you own. So you can see here on the map, I'm going to pillage this region here in the middle, and that is going to be my sanctuary. Now, when you get a sanctuary, yeah, I pillaged that. So when you get a sanctuary, you can, after you own it as a sanctuary, you can do a parade there, which will give you votes and give you your military experience. And you can also tax it to get like Solari, but it's less Solari than you would for pillage. So what you really want to do before you get a sanctuary, before you actually make it a sanctuary, is you want to pillage it as much as possible. Um, let's talk about army compositions with Ecaz. I think there's two viable compositions. There's the Knight Squire heavy composition, and then there's the Squire Musket heavy composition. And for their upgrades on the muskets, you pretty much want to go stealth detection and barrel cleaner, which will give you plus 100% damage on your first shot. Now the squires, depending if you have a lot of knights, they have a squire knight synergy where there's an upgrade in there that'll give you like a buff to your squires depending on how many knights are out and how many, and your knights will also give a buff to the squires as well. The knights also have a very interesting upgrade. They have a plus CP cost upgrade, which makes the knights cost, I think, an extra 3 CP. Uh, but they have like a stupid power buff. Like I think it's like plus 15% damage or plus X amount of power or something like that. It makes them like they hit like a bus. They become like a glass cannon, right? So there's a couple of working armies out there. The one downside to Ecaz is that they recruit at only four a slot. So 4 slots. So what I'm saying here is like when you get your parallel training and your main base building for recruitment slots, they'll only have 4 max. But they have a mechanic called champions. So after you get to 10,000 hedge, you can name your units as champions, right? Now if you have the hero Whitmore, you can get 2 champions. Um, and let's talk about their heroes here since we're on the topic. But basically, they have 2 heroes. One is Whitmore Blood, and the other one is Alessa. And so Alessa gives you a buff where Ecaz has a unique building that you can build called a masterpiece. You can see I just built it there. Let's rewind that and pause that for a second. Um, right there. So that masterpiece building, they can quirk pretty good this faction, and right there. So you can see that's these they have a yellow, a red, and a blue masterpiece. Okay, and so the masterpieces count as two for quirks. So if you have a quirk on a village that says +3 Solari for a yellow building, it'll count double. Now, ECAS do not get investment offices, but every region touching a sanctuary gets a multiplier. So if you have one region touching two sanctuaries, that's times two. So that +3 Solari will actually be +6, but it'll actually be plus, I think it'll be 12 because this little thing will count as two. Now, other factions, they can't destroy these buildings without a penalty. So the penalty is that they lose authority and Landsrad. So their main hero, one of their main heroes, two heroes. Every faction has two heroes. I'm having a hard time speaking today, guys, because I'm really sick and I'm short of breath. But I'm trying to get this video out before our 2v2 tournament today, which is going to be starting in an hour. So I hope you guys will join us for that. But this video will air after. Um, Alessa allows you to have a damage amplifier for every masterpiece that's in a neighboring region. So if you build a region full of masterpieces, Alessa will make your army hit like a freaking truck. And if they kill Alessa on your territory, they lose like Landsrad, and I think they lose Landsrad for it. Now, Alessa pairs really nice with a hero that I didn't choose here. Her name is Mesa, and Mesa allows you to grab territories, and when you grab territories with Mesa, you can drop them and get a full refund of your territory. So you can basically run around the map. It's one of the strategies that some people like to do on Ecaz. Run around the map, grab a bunch of territories, put masterpieces in them, and then drop them because they can't really delete the masterpieces without having some kind of punishment Landsrad wise. And then if your army is present in those regions where you seeded the masterpieces, you get a lot of power buffs. I don't like to play Alessa. I like to play Whitmore, and the reason why I like to play Whitmore on Ecaz is because for each building or unit of the enemy faction, not a neutral unit, of an enemy faction that you kill, you get 100 hedge, right? So if you have Whitmore, and Whitmore allows you to name two champions instead of one, so if you have Whitmore, let's just say a Squire champion and a Musket champion, you have three units that for whatever they damage, they give you 100 hedge. So the I think the meta way to play Ecaz is you get a really strong army, you go into the late game, and you try to be in a position where you can gather up a lot of hegemony, capture your sanctuaries at like 25 and 26, and get over the limit and get to 30 and win the game outright. The other thing that Ecaz can do really well is they can gov really well. And the reason why they can gov really well is because of this hero VIP. And so VIP, he allows you to become immune to um, charters. So so say you acquire a charter, they also have a tech called political art. It's a completely unique Ecaz tech. Once you have it, it's a tier 4 blue tech all the way at the bottom of the blue tech tree in the middle. Once you have it, once you get a charter, they can't vote you off of it. But they can have loss of rights go through. But if you have VIP, you can make yourself immune from loss of rights, and that basically means you can never lose the charter as long as you make yourself immune in the Landsrad. I don't do any of this in this game, so unfortunately I can't demonstrate it to you, but I'm going to try to explain it to you as best I can because this is like an Ecaz learn Ecaz video. This is going to be a hedge win video. Um, but essentially, you can make a lot of votes by making yourself immune, putting down masterpieces, because VIP gives you a bonus for each masterpiece. You can pretty much get a lot of Landsrad really fast. You get 10 Landsrad for each masterpiece you built. And then at one point in the game, you have like 900 votes. You could sneak a charter and try to sneak yourself into Gov. Now, I don't think you should ever make Gov your primary win condition on any faction for that matter. I think you should always be in the hedge race while contesting one or two other win conditions, just in case one of the other two conditions beat out hedge. So anyway, Ecaz is a fantastic hedge faction. They can Gov. They can also chome a little bit depending on your quirks and how many sanctuaries you get. But I think primarily they're one of the best hedge factions in the game because of the champion mechanic, and we're gonna see that in this game too. Okay, so we went over sanctuaries, heroes, counselors. They also have one other counselor, Mace, Sonya Ecaz, who gives you like a Solari bonus for I think it's like 10 Solari or something like that for each sanctuary you own and makes masterpieces cheaper. I think she's probably their most weak counselor. I went with Rivi, and Rivi is this big fat guy up here, and he gives you automatic +1 level veterancy on your units, and if your units are max vetted, then they have no upkeep cost. Now, Ecaz is one of those factions, they're kind of like Atreides, where if you lose your army, it can be devastating because not only for them because they recruit a lot slower, but the veterancy is so important because if a max vetted army for Ecaz becomes almost unstoppable, especially if they're perfected. Now, there's one more unique thing that Ecaz can do, and that's that they can make perfected units. So once you get the tier 4, tier 3 tech, red tech on the right, I think it's called Logistical Flourish. Okay, let's just look at those upgrades for a second. Okay, so here's the Squire upgrade that I was talking about. Knightly Protector. This gives you +1 armor for each knight in short range. So if you're going, there's like two viable army compositions. I think I don't actually know which one is better yet. I think this one is better, the one that I'm about to tell you. It's a lot of squires. It's like 5 squires, a bunch of muskets, two war banners, and one knight that you make a champion with the plus CP upgrade and the plus power upgrade, and you make that a 65 CP army. I think that army is really good for most things. Um, the only weakness of that army is there's a lot of ranged units. So some factions that are good against ranged units, like Fremen, that can swarm ranged units, right? Like Fremen and Hark, who have split Serbs, and Fremen who can just worm their Fedaykin with AoE on top of your ranged units. Um, they can kind of devastate that composition. So you have to be careful. You have to know your matchups. And then the other composition is a bunch of power upgraded knights, a bunch of squires, maybe a handful of muskets, and war banners. War banners are essential in every composition because they give a speed upgrade and they have just really good buffs for the Ecaz army. And they have the best voice line in the game, which is obviously Ecaz is winning the war. So, but you have to zoom in for them to hear that. It's not voice line that when you click on a unit it plays, but that's neither here nor there, guys. So anyway, so we're gonna go through the upgrades here, and we're gonna go with the Squire buff and then the damage reduction buff for the Squire. Musket, like I said, is barrel cleaner and stealth detection. I don't use any of their uh, man, what's that unit called? I don't use any fencers for them, and not too many in this composition. Uh, but anyway, so we're about to make our first sanctuary here. I hope I didn't lose my train of thought on what I was explaining before. But if I did, leave me a comment. I'll get back to you for sure. Anyway, so there's our first sanctuary, right? Ecaz is really weak early game, so you have to be careful because. Oh, I know what I was talking about. I was talking about perfected units. Sorry, guys, I'm all over the place today. I'm really having a hard time with my energy. Anyway, they have a mechanic called Perfection, where the units become double the CP cost. They have a lot of HP and a lot more power, and they're more durable. And those take double the time to recruit, right? So in the early game, if you're not facing any early pressure, you want to make like a fully perfected army, and you kind of want to try to get to the late game with as many perfected max vet units as possible, so that when you take engagements, you just absolutely devastate somebody while farming hedge off of them, and then you capture your sanctuaries and win. Now that's not easy to do in a lobby where everybody knows what the trick with Ecaz is, right? Because people are aware, like, okay, Ecaz is getting to 21, 22k hedge. We got to decap him, get rid of a couple of his sanctuaries, and snipe his champions. Because when you snipe the champion on Ecaz, whatever hegemony that champion has collected, it gets deleted. So you could go from like if your champion has 200 trophies on it, that's 2,000 hedge because each trophy is 100 hedge. You will lose 2,000 hegemony and you'll go from 23k to 21k real quick. And at the end of the game, as you're gonna see in this game, you just see right there, I just made two perfected knights. So watch this. So that when you get when you get martial perfectionism, okay, you're gonna see they get two menus to make units, like you're gonna see here in a second. I'm gonna pause it so you guys can see. Gosh, come on, it's on 2.5x. It's so fast. And there it is. So you get two menus. This is your regular recruiting menu, and this is the perfected unit recruiting menu. And these guys cost double. So this guy right here, this knight, costs 100 manpower to make, right? And they take longer to recruit. So at the end of the game, if you lose your perfected army, it's not a big deal. Their army's still fantastic. You're not going to have time to recreate a perfected army more than likely. So don't do it when the game is on the line. Just get your perfected army out. Try to keep it as long as possible. It's okay to lose your champs in your hedge. Your hedge is going to oscillate up and down. Just as long as you're in a position at the end of the game to be able to try to make a move and execute the closeout, you'll be fine. Okay. So back into this game, I think I went admin hall, research center, manpower, like nothing special. I'm gonna have a triple yellow, triple red. Uh, perhaps you can do. There's a couple viable main base compositions here. You can see they have two single slots and three triple districts and a double. You can do triple double red and then um, triple yellow here or triple blue. Depending if you have good quirks, you don't need the triple yellow building. But again, you're not going to be buying a lot of chome that way. I think another solid way to play them is to go triple red, double yellow, triple blue, which is totally fine because they have a main base building called the Museum of Art that allows you to build multiple masterpieces of the same color in one region. So say there's like that Data Brokers quirk, which gives you +3 Solari for each blue building that you have in a region. You could just fill that entire region with blue masterpieces, and then you can get double the quirks plus any multipliers that you have from any sanctuaries touching that village. Okay, so those are I think the best ways to play their main base. Anyway, my Solari is pretty. I'm in a deficit. I have one sanctuary so far, and I can see here, like this sanctuary over here on the left. That'll be easy to grab as soon as I grab Worm's Nest over here. And I'm just pillaging. Excuse me. I'm just pillaging what I can. Here's a here's a look at my armory here, and you can see what I got here on the night was I went extra CP and the Squire buff right there. So this one gives you the extra power on the knight for extra CP, and this one gives you the Squire buff. And then that was my composition. Now I'm making perfected units. You're gonna need a lot of manpower on Ecaz, and it has a lot of upkeep. So hopefully you get like two or three sanctuaries that have really good quirks, and you get a couple of spice fields. Until then, you're just gonna have to pillage, and you're gonna have to make sure that you don't die early. Because frankly, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If the smuggler, Harkonnen, or Fremen decide that you want to die in month 3, there's going to be very little you can do about it unless somebody decides it's in their interest to save you and bail you out from getting absolutely destroyed in month 3. And that's some of the like it happened to me on Carino the other day where I got a spawn 2 tiles away from Harkonnen, and the Harkonnen player, who was a good player, keep feeding, decided, look, I'm just gonna get Carino out of the game. He got me out of the game. He killed me. I got a really bad spawn. My fuel tile was away from my main, and I died in month 3. And he ended up winning the game because it was the right decision. So I'm capturing regions. I decided to bunker this area here because it's a triple bunker. So you as always you want to look out for where the bunkers are because those are areas that are easier to defend. And now I'm just looking for stuff to pillage. I'm low on Solari. I think this is going to be the first time I get to use my sanctuary unless so there you go. So there's your two options in the sanctuary. Now for pillaging you get 600. For tax collection you only get 300. So that's why you want to pillage it as many times before you make it a sanctuary. And then this is the military parade. that gives you the option to get some votes and to veterancy up your army. Now, at the late game where your Solari has stabilized and you don't need Solari, you're always going to be doing military parades because you always want to try to get the votes and you always mainly want to try to get your army as max vetted as possible. But in this case, I'm pretty broke, so, which is normal. So I got my Solari. I'm building perfected units only. I got lucky in this game that I got left alone early, and you're gonna see the finish in this game. It was razor tight, and it was actually quite exciting and a lot. And this is what makes Ecaz kind of fun because it's like high risk, high reward, and you could be on the cusp of winning the game, and then you just go to last place because somebody snipes your champion and it was over. But you have to be, if you're a good Ecaz player, you're gonna take your champions out of the fights in the late game once they've acquired enough trophies, or you're going to use their unique operation, which is called a lack of fog. It's their 500 intel operation. So a lack of fog means that any non-mechanical unit that's engaged in combat cannot be microed. So if the armies are fighting, you want to send in your non-champion units in, get the other army to engage in combat, and then throw down the fog. And then once the fog is down, they can't choose to micro their army to attack your champions, and then your army just goes to work. Now it's a double-edged sword because you could be locked in combat over sand, a worm shows up, you get eaten because you can't micro. So the lack of fog operation, it has to be exquisitely used, really, really much so, exquisitely used. Otherwise, it'll backfire you completely. So I think I'm gonna go pillage that region one more time before I make it a sanctuary because I'm about to capture Worm's Nest. Now Ecaz makes a lot of authority. That's why they're so good at Hedge because for each sanctuary you own, you get +1 authority. So if you have 3 or 4 sanctuaries, it's not irregular for Ecaz after you get outpost logistics to be making like 18 authority. It's really not. So Smugglers is capturing the Sandfall to the northeast. I didn't like that because I felt like that should be part of my territory. So that'll be conflict later. I'm capturing the Worm's Nest here, and I'm just continuing to build perfected units. I'm trying to use my quirks as best as possible. I'm pillaging every village around me that I don't plan on immediately taking. And I'm trying to stabilize my economy right now because my army has a lot of upkeep because I have perfected units. And I think at this point I only have 1 spice field, so I'm kind of poor. And that's normal. I'm playing at a Solari deficit. One thing with Ecaz is you're not going to be making militia in the early game because your units cost a lot of manpower, especially if you're going perfected. So you're always on the lookout for sieges, raiding your villages, whatever, like making sure that you're not getting pillaged by other factions if you can help it. But you don't want to take a bad fight. You don't want to lose your army early. If you have to suffer a couple of losses, like lose a couple of villages, take a couple of pillages, do it. Do not throw your army away until you're ready to fight with their maximum power. That's my advice to you. Um, okay, so we got the Lapdopter quest here. I'm sending the Lapdopter around to every special region. I have 20 knowledge, that's decent. The other mechanic that Ecaz have is that they can make a village a garden, which I don't actually know where I did that this game. I think I made the spacing cruiser wreck the garden. You can use the garden in one of 2 ways. You can use it offensively, which means that if you put it at a tile that you know is going to be in conflict, it makes everybody think twice about attacking that tile. Because if anybody attacks your garden, they will suffer 100 authority loss and 100 Landsrat loss. It's really bad to attack a garden. It's a big price you have to pay. So if you're gonna take somebody's garden, you better make sure number one you take it because each time you do it after, it's the same penalty, and two, it's a tile that you really need. So like if I want to push forward a position and capture it and make sure that nobody's gonna attack it at least for now, I'll make it a garden. The other way to use a garden, and this is no not one is better than the other because both of them can make or break your game. The other way to use a garden is you make the garden touch as many sanctuaries as possible. The best case scenario is 3. It's really hard to do 4 if not impossible. I mean, maybe it's possible to do 4, but if you do 3, the garden will generate you knowledge, Solari, and it'll make the tiles around it cheaper. Which, if you get the tier 3 green tag called like Manichean Propaganda or something, that's the one you want to do if you're going to be planning a late game hedge spike, because the territories around your garden, which are more likely than not sanctuaries, are going to be cheaper to capture. And if they're cheaper to capture, that means you basically, like, if I have 3 sanctuaries, I'll have 1800 hedge ready to go. I'll farm 2000 hedge on my champions, and then I'll get 1200 from tax, and that will be like, all right, that's how I close out the game. Anyway, you can see now I'm doing a parade there because I feel like my Solari isn't so bad. I captured the Spacing Cruiser wreck, and I don't remember if I made it a sanctuary or not. I actually don't remember what I did for my sanctuary this game. I don't even know if I made one, which is a mistake because you always want to make one at least somewhere. I think I was deciding on what to make sanctuary. Maybe I made the Sandfall sanctuary in the Northeast. I don't remember. But anyway, I'm just expanding, keeping myself up in the hedge race. My Solari's finally stabilized because my Worm's Nest is coming online. I've got 62 out of 65. I've got 5 Squires, a bunch of muskets, and 3 Knights. So, and 2 War Banners. I'm gonna make one more War Banner because a War Banner is 3 CP. Once I get the Solari for it, because it costs 600 Solari to make a perfected War Banner. Now with Ecaz, one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to make, if you can help it, you don't want to make your fuel cell regions sanctuaries because you need your fuel cells for your War Banner and for your main ship. Now the Ecaz main ship is called the Monument. Where do I rank the Monument amongst ships? I think it's one of the better ships. I think they're all kind of good. They all have their unique thing that they do well, and I don't really hate any one factions. I think I don't like the Kraken the most, but people for traders, but people that know how to use the Kraken really well, man, they can make that ship so S tier. It's crazy. But anyway, the Monument is it's not really good for its attack power. It's good for its buff and its debuff. It has 2 options. One is that it can make your units more powerful, and two, it can make the other enemy units at range shoot slower. So if you're fighting a mass ranged army, like if you're fighting a smuggler or a Carino with a bunch of conscripts, you can hit them with the debuff, and because your units are more powerful and more tanky, they will win. Or if you want to make your units more powerful, if you're fighting like an army with a lot of melee and you want to give a buff to your units, like if you're fighting Fremen, you want to do the the I think it's called the War Anthem and the Lullaby. The Lullaby is the debuff and the War Anthem is the buff. You want to buff your units. But it's a great ship, and I'm still trying to get use it a little better. Uh, it's one of the more complex ships to use because it has 2 modes, so it's gonna require a little bit of practice. Whereas some ships are just a little more outright simple, like the Overlord is just an attack. You don't have to worry about anything else. Fremen, kind of the same thing. It's kind of an attacking thing. Fremen actually has a couple of complexities on their altar, but we'll get to that in the Fremen video. Anyway, I'm continuing to pillage. My Solari stabilized. Now we're at the mid game, 13.8k. Um, and I'm just deciding here. So on my tech tree, I'm getting my tier 4 yellow, which is going to further stabilize my economy. So basically, I went like a little bit of one yellow, a little bit of blue, a little bit of green. Then I got all my red. Now I'm getting all my yellow. Now I built my ship, my Spacing Guild branch. I'm getting my ship out. I got Spacing Cruiser Rex, so I'm getting +2 parts. And I'm going to get my yellow tech. I'm maxing out my harvesters. And then I'm going to get my crafts workshops. And then I'm going to try to win the game. Like, that's it. I'm paying attention to my quirks. I'm not really contesting Landsrat in this game. You can see I went triple. I'm going to go triple red, double blue, triple yellow. So I'm not going to be playing a Landsrat game here. I'm definitely getting my intelligence agency for the extra mission slots. The unique Ecaz operation here called Epic Quest, which is right here. It's like the little feather. It'll buff the unit with the strongest attack power in the region that where you're fighting. So one unit starts to smack, and then when that unit dies, the next one up does the same thing. So I'm just hanging out. You can see my votes here. I'm probably not going to win that charter, so Max. Now I'm starting to get militia. Right now that my army's built out completely, I'm getting militia. I'm gonna go up there, pillage that village, and I'm moving myself into the late game pretty comfortably. I have Whitmore out, and what I need to do now is I need to find a way to max vet my army. Um, And I think what I just did was I moved my ornithopter over here because I want to take Sandfall, but I don't want the smuggler army to be there, so I just want to make sure I'm tracking where the smuggler army is. So I see over there that he pillaged, and now there's no other reason for him to stay there. So as his army's leaving, I'm gonna do another military parade, and that's the museum building right there that I just built, the Museum of Arts building. And now that he's gone, I think I'm gonna walk over there and try to fight for Sandfall, which I think I'm not sure how it goes. I'm not sure how it goes. But we'll see. We'll see. It's a stacking off region, which makes it incredibly annoying, of course, because stacking off is maybe the best counselor in the game. He's up there with Jessica and Irulan and all the heavy hitters, and Vip actually. So um, I'm just waiting for my moment to strike here. I've got a two sanctuary setup, potentially a third if I can grab that tile that I was pillaging. That's this to the south of this deep desert that we see right here. Not sure what happened to the video here. Let's see. Oh, we had to reload. That's right. My game lagged out. Okay, anyway, so here we go. So I'm making a move. I'm putting my squires up front. I don't want my knights to go first because I don't want them to get popped. So I put my knights in the back. I go straight for his airfield. And now he has to walk here. I have a okay, but I didn't get it in time, right? So now I have to engage him. But for some reason, I don't think he flew his entire army here. Okay, there they are. And now I'm taking this. I pop his hero. I pretty much mow him down here. And he has to leave. And hopefully I don't get anything eaten here. But he sniped Whitmore, which was a good move by him. Now I decide to remax here. It's still early enough. I decide to remax in perfecteds, and I'm getting liberated here, which kind of sucks. But I think I'm gonna spawn my units there to stop the liberation. And my water is incredibly low, so I start trading for water in the Spacing Guild branch, which I can afford to do because I have a Spacing Cruiser wreck. It gives me extra parts. So here's my units. They're gonna come out there. They're gonna snipe those guys trying to liberate my village. And I think the smuggler's gonna come back and try to challenge me here. Or okay, so this is like a great example of where I don't want to be truced here, but at the same time, if I make myself immune from truce, he can just vote it on himself. And you can see the votes here. He has more votes than me by 20 votes. So there's no reason for me to even try to make myself immune from any of this stuff. But let's see what I end up doing here. I asked for them to vote truce on Hark. So I think what I do is I go all in on Hark because Hark tainted this anyway. So I try to get the money and I try to get the Solari and the lands right on the left, and the vote goes through. And what was it? Okay, I got truced. Now I choose to betray because I'm already so far into this capture and it's a stacking off region. I didn't really need to do that, but I decided to commit. Where does that put my Landsrad? That put my Oh, and Carino threw an orbital in there. That was just such a. It was they did not want me to win this. So Smugglers now is gonna. I'm reinforcing, and he's got his Wraith out, and I'm at a huge disadvantage here. I leave one Squire to sit in that tile simply because like the Squire has a lot of armor. That I'm out of supply here too. I really need to drop supply. My Knight is low on supply, but my army's a lot stronger than his, right? I got my Monument out, but it was a little too late. I threw Epic Quest in there, but my army's a lot stronger, so but I get Whitmore back. So now it becomes like a war of attrition, which I really think the smuggler should win this. I don't know if he does, because Whitmore comes in and he just starts clapping cheeks, or maybe not. Um, and then I get a couple of knights that come back. So yeah, he saw Whitmore and he ran. So I get some knights to come back, but he's kind of at it, and I don't want him to capture or pillage that because I want that region to bunker this. So this is like a really long, drawn out fight. And with my knights, he could have maybe like kited me a little better, but he, with the wraith there, yeah, like I can't do anything with his wraith there. I need to get some muskets out. But I managed to get. He runs out of supply, so I managed to get my knight on his backline, and now I'm double capping this. And I think a better smuggler player would have won that fight there, but I managed to win it. And now I can try to bunker this tile, these regions. And I secured. I don't know if I make it a. I don't know if I make it a garden or not. I really don't remember what I do with the garden. I actually think I completely forgot to garden anything in this game, which is really stupid. Or maybe I put it on the Space and Cruiser wreck later. But yeah, that was a tough fight. I lost my entire stack, and I'm not gonna remake them perfected this time. I don't think I do. Let's just see what I do to get my army back. I am going perfected. Okay, I guess it's still early enough. It's only 18k. Now Carino comes back, and he's trying to kill my main base here, which is like crazy. And he goes, "Sorry, Cream, you have too much hedge." Now, I really think I should have died here, and let me tell you why. This guy doesn't have any flamers in his composition, and if you know how to properly base kill on Carino, yeah, like this is so bad. Like I'm getting smoked. Look at that max fetid rifle stack. Like it's so I'm getting cooked, and he's using his Chronos to tank, and I'm gonna lose pretty much everything. But I think I convinced the smuggler to come over and help me under the guise of the fact that Carino, if he kills me, will get a third base, which nobody wants to happen. So I'm just doing my best to fight here. Whitmore is gonna, I don't know. I'm waiting for as many units to spawn as possible, and I'm trying to kill those backline guys. But he has so many riflemen. They do so much damage so fast that I can't kill anything. And now I'm begging the lobby for help, which I'm trying to turret this. The only reason this even like succeeds is because and Smuggler smartly uses this opportunity to, I'm waiting for that turret to build so I can just get on his back line. Lose another squire there. That's not good. I have my ship come. Smuggler's pillaging over there. I have my ship come, and my ship can start doing some splash damage on these guys. And he's choosing to target the ship, which it dies pretty quick considering how many rifles he has, but it gives me the opportunity to kind of just buy myself some time here to get as many more units out as possible. You can see I'm definitely not recruiting perfected now. Smuggler's coming over here, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so cooked here. I'm absolutely cooked. And I start capping my sanctuary, thinking like I'm about to lose everything, but for some reason I don't capture it. And the smug decided to come and bail me out because he did not want Carino to get a main base. And I don't know actually what happened to the Carino army. Where'd they all go? Did he fly them home? Or did they just die? No, no, he flew them home. He flew them home once he saw the smuggler coming. Because I think the smuggler broke truce with him. And he definitely bailed me out. And there goes the Chronos. I don't know if I would have died there. I think my main base would have been way less than half. Probably would have been on his last legs if he had a couple of flamethrowers. If he had a couple of flamethrowers in there. But anyway, I survived. Okay, Smuggler's up there capping my stuff. I think he didn't delete my airfield. Yeah, he didn't delete my airfield. What a mistake. You always want to go for the airfield, guys. So I got lucky in this lobby that the smuggler kind of like maybe he was pressured by the fact that he needed to get over to Carino, but he should have 100% deleted my airfield, and then I just clap him with my muskets. And that was I survived that. But I think I missed tax right there under all the pressure there. I missed tax. It's fine, right? We're still in it. We're alive. We've survived to fight another day. And now I'm thinking, okay, I survived here. We're getting at 18k. I'm rebuilding my army. I'm still trying to make perfected, which is probably not advisable. Just watching this in hindsight. I'm thinking, what am I going to do to win this game? I see a lot of Carino villages to the south of my western bunker, and I'm thinking that's a great potential hedge farming spot at the end of the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild my army. I'm going to rename my champions. I'm going to make a squire and a knight my champion. and somebody's eligible for Dune governorship,
We got. Oh, literally all these people.
and um, I'm going to deny Harkonnen, who somehow was able to make himself Gov eligible. So that's what's happening here,
We got nothing to say. We try to. We try to
and
work. Oh, nice. That's two people here.
we're just trying to get to the late game to try to close it out. And I'm gonna try to recapture that spice field, I believe, and try to rebunker that, and then I'm gonna pivot into trying to um, wow, I actually had to tax my people because I'm really poor. I'm gonna pivot into getting my ship back, and I think I start farming some sieges, which is absolutely necessary on Ecaz. Is a great way to make um, veterancy for your army. But I don't actually don't know. I actually don't know what happens from here. Like what happens from here. So they start fighting over here. I see that. Now, whenever you're a neighbor with somebody who's fighting, that's like an alarm bell should go off in your head. All right, it's hedge farming time, right? And I think that's what happens here, right? So I have to turn around because I betrayed smuggler. Now these guys come out. They're trying to kill my base here, so I have to get rid of them real quick because my Landsrat is in the pits. If you're below 100 Landsrat, these guys will periodically come out with Landsrat punishers, do a defense breach on your base and start killing you. It's one of the most annoying things in the game. It always happens at the most inopportune time. Everything that can go wrong in the game usually does. Like your villages will get liberated, raiders will come, renegades will come, and they will start to like pillage stuff, or like you're in the middle of capturing. Okay, so I pillaged Carino here. There's no buildings or militia for me to kill there. But I'm desperate because my money's so low. But I think I go into some of his other villages and I start to farm hedge for the first time, right? I have two champs. I think I have I know Whitmore is definitely out, so I have at least one champion. Now there's two theories you can do here. One is you can concentrate. I only have one champion at this time. It's only Whitmore. You can concentrate all your hegemony onto Whitmore, or you can spread it out amongst your other champions. Either way works fine as long as you're preserving your stuff. So now you can see here. Now I'm farming him up. I'm killing all his militia, all his buildings, and Whitmore's getting trophy stacks on him. And by the way, Whitmore has an ability that you can activate. Now I don't want to fight here. Like I want to preserve the trophies that I just kept, so I'm running. I'm running. I might even throw like a squire to sacrifice him. I throw a decoy dumper down so he doesn't chase me. I try to get that one guy, but he leaves. So Whitmore has an ability where he becomes super tanky. His armor goes up, but he starts consuming trophies. So if you need to save Whitmore, or if you're fighting in a fight that's going to be close, you want to activate Whitmore's ability. Even though you lose maybe 400 or 500 hedge, it'll turn the fight because Whitmore becomes like a beast. He just can't be stopped.
I have enough. Yeah, I have 4 knights. I should be fine. But also, and I don't know what my ship is doing over here. Plastic, dude. Plastic stuff always going wrong. Plastic stuff.
Um,
Wait, what? No way.
all right. Smugs is capping a region that I don't want him to cap. I need this region. So I'm gonna fight him here. I don't remember how this fight goes. I think he gets the cap off, which is really annoying. But I'm gonna take it for myself immediately. I'm gonna get decoy thumper in an operation. Something weird is happening on the west. Like I said, it's the raiders. I don't really care that they're pillaging that village at the moment. I'm trying to get my monument over. I'm gonna try to keep that region thumpered. Actually, I decided to bail out for some reason. I don't remember why. Um, I'm gonna cap this region, I suppose. I'm gonna build probably because I don't have a military base there, so I'm probably gonna build that military base. And um, I don't know. I'm going into the late game. I don't remember what happens in this game, so um,
Am I too late? For that combat after that? Man, oh man.
okay. Somebody flies in here. I fly back. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm trying to organize this tournament, which starts in about 30 minutes here. This 2v2 tournament. But yeah, this game's going well. Like I like my position. This is exactly where you want to be as Ecaz. You want to be like contested. I don't want to be first. I don't want to be first, but um, I mean, it is what it is, you know. So um, now I'm gonna try to recapture the spice field. I mean, like it would be great if I had time to farm those guys for veterancy. I don't, because Smuggler's like right at my doorstep. So I'm gonna fly home. This guy has a hidden explosives on my base. Now this is like a great opportunity for me to farm hedge off of him, and he decides to run. But I think I got a couple of units, and maybe so I switched my upgrade on my muskets to Bird Slayer, which does extra damage to flying units. I believe this Wraith dies. Yep, got the Wraith, and now I'm gonna farm him up here, destroy all these buildings, and capture this village for myself. He's back with his army. Now this is where I don't want him to be able to kite me with his sniper. So I pull back my units as much as I can, throw a decoy thumper down, and now I have to sit here and wait. But luckily it's not a stacking off region, so it's not going to take that long. And I'm heavy melee here. I'm heavy melee. So for him, he has to do an excellent job of microing and kiting his snipers back. Otherwise, I just smoke him. Somebody messages me that Smug has 26k money, so I'm like, I said I'm fighting him because I think he's worried about his Chome. I'm not really sure if Chome was a threat here, but maybe at the end he gets into the 40s. I don't remember. I'm starting to build my crafts workshops now because it's that point of the game. Carino's probably starting to cook as well, so I can't fall behind. And I only have two specials, three specials, right? Sandfall, Crescent Ridge in the north, and Worm's Nest in the west. And um, yeah, I'm just trying to win this game. I'm literally trying to win this game, and it's gonna come down to the final minute if my memory serves me right. So I come back here, and I'm of course getting liberated because anything that can't go wrong does. And then I make an announcement that Carino's cooking 81. So he's cooking 81. Now I'm gonna get rid of this base and I'm gonna capture this tile. I'm gonna fly these units back and stop this liberation. And now I have to decide like how I'm gonna execute this W. I don't have a nuke, which is something that's not good. You should usually have a nuke cooked just to stop, just at least to try to stop the any liberation. So Smuggler gets there too late. I throw a decoy thumper down. He can't pursue me, so he wanted that spice tile. I send him a truce. Does he accept it? I don't know. He does. He accepted the truce, and I'm trying to rally everybody to attack Carino, who's cooking like a massive amount of hegemony. So I'm going in there. I switch my monument into war anthem, and I'm trying to get it over to the fight with me. And yeah, man. I mean, I'm just going in. I hope he has some militia here, and he has one building for me to farm, right? So here I go. And smugglers going on Carino in the mid. And they're like, yeah, it's fine. We can just base kill Ecaz. Okay, I don't want to like fully engage here, right? I'm gonna risk it here. I'm gonna run my army through the thumper and maybe get a chance to kill his Chronos if he's careless enough with it. And yeah, he is careless here, so I think I do kill the Chronos. I pursue it through the worm because it's worth it for me. I cannot have an active Chronos running around my territory and then possibly ferrying over the entire Carino army to my main base. It's absolutely a must. So I have to be careful here. Um, I think I don't know why I didn't make myself immune from gear eggs. I should have 100% made myself immune from gear eggs at this point. I think I did though, but um, yeah, I did. So so uh, I'm gonna kill that Kronos, and then while they're fighting on the east in the mid, once that Kronos dies, I wonder what I do with my army here. I think I just fly them back over the west and I start farming Carino. So Smugs, I don't know what Hark is doing on the east on the far east of the map, but um, this is it. This is like the most critical moment of the game. Your entire game was to be able to get you here for you to be able to have a chance to win the game. Like there's nothing's ever guaranteed, but you need to have a chance. I think I'm about to attack Smuggler and just start farming his stuff. Is that what I do? Um, no. He pulls his army back. So again, I don't want to like put my champions at too much risk. It's okay if I lose some army, but if I lose a champion at this point, I don't think I have that much hedge. I only have like 4 or 500 hedge on that. So there's 100 hedge. You can see I went from 25.1 to 25.2. Okay, and that's basically the mechanic right there. You can farm hedge. Now he has a bunch of militia here, buildings here. This is so good for me. So I think he's getting assassinated. So that's what's happening. He said he's dead. Go kill Ecaz because I'm getting assassinated. And he starts running his army at my main base. Now my main base is already low, but I have a turret there,
And this
and I
is always
have
weird.
one
Stuff like this always happens.
one measly assassin gets a kill. Now he runs back. So at this point I have to consider capping my sanction. It's 27k now, right?
How'd you win?
I have 1200 hedge
This is the most.
there.
I should have been dead. You didn't have any flames.
I have 1800 hedge because I have two more sanctuaries. So I'm capping one, I'm capping two, and I'm sending Whitmore to cap the third one. I need to keep him safe,
Happens, baby.
but I'm a little short on authority again because I didn't use my garden properly. Like that region would have been a lot cheaper to capture if I used my garden properly, which I don't think I gardened anything
Yeah,
this
I
game.
think I'm just waiting for the next wave.
Not the cleanest Ecaz win, but a win nonetheless. So I'm running Whitmore back,
Thoughts?
and I have a champ squire there. You can see him with the big star and a champ musket, the two big stars in those units. And I throw the fog down,
Are you going? Oh my
and
goodness.
this is it. Like this is how you use the fog. I fog him here, and I'm farming the crap out of him. And I do have a new
How'd you win?
cooked. Okay, so this wasn't like the worst win ever, but there's Landsrat Punishers that are available. Those are devastating. I guess I support those, and I try to get them
I
into
think
the
Alex
fight
is
with me.
he's probably killed many of my units. I
Um,
kill these guys right, except a handful of these guys are not.
And I think what happens here is look at my hedge numbers 28.5, 28.6, 28.8, 28.9. I'm just farming him. 29.1, 29.3. And this is how you do it right here. This is textbook. Now those punishers are devastating. I need to get Whitmore out of there. I can't get him out of there because he's still under the effects of fog. Now I start running him. And he starts running. And if Whitmore dies here, I lose. And I got him out of there. And boom, that was it. And that's the win. And that's
Oh my
like
god, did you
the
just double kill me?
typical Ecaz hedge win right there.
Wow.
Is you can see how fast that hedge climbed at the end. Save your champion, capture your sanctuaries, and win the game. And now you guys know exactly what to do on Ecaz, so you can be a Grandmaster Dune Spice Wars player on Ecaz. Thank you guys. We'll see you in the next video. Join our community. We run tournaments and events for this game. It's a lot of fun. And we'll see you for the next one. Bye bye.